Hey everyone, and welcome back to Cliffhangers and Page Turners, the podcast where we, really dig into a book just like you would with your own book club. You know, complete with all the spoilers and debates and those moments where you just have to gush about a favorite passage. I'm Paige.
I'm Cliff. This is episode 13, and we are diving into a debut novel.
Yes, we are.
It's called To the End of the Line by Sage Greer. Sage Greer has always been passionate about languages and the power of stories to bridge cultures. Born and raised in France, she holds a BA in political science and an MA in sociology. She became a translator in the hopes of sharing diverse voices with French readers. When she isn't traveling the world for inspiration, Sage writes stories that explore queerness, mental health, and the search for self in adulthood.
I'm so excited.
Me too, after hearing all of that about her background.
So let's do it.
Let's dive in.
Right off the bat, the book opens with Nicholas. He's a grad student. He's back in Chicago. He goes to visit his brother Will's newly renovated apartment. And there's this immediate sense that something's off. Will, who's usually pretty laid back, seems really on edge. All these lingering renovation plans are stressing him out.
Right. And right away you get this feeling that there's this tension underlying their whole interaction. It's subtle, but it's definitely there. Like something's not quite right.
Totally. And then, boom, the news that kind of throws everything into a tailspin. Will drops the bombshell that Matias Romero, someone Nicholas has a history with, and it's not a good one, is moving in. Not only that, but he's also starting law school nearby.
Yeah, and you can just feel the weight of that history in Nicholas's reaction. Like when Will mentions Matias doing some community work, there's this almost mocking edge to Nicholas's voice. You know what I mean? You just know he's already made up his mind about this guy before they've even properly reconnected.
For sure. And that whole thing about past experiences coloring our perceptions, it's a huge theme throughout the book, right? Those initial judgments can be so powerful and hard to shake.
Totally. And Nicholas's discomfort just keeps building when he heads over to his friend Sloane's place. You described him arriving there as visibly vibrating, which is such a great way to put it. He's clearly a mess.
Yeah. He's a total mess. He tells Sloane how he was hoping for a quiet year, just focused on his research tucked away in the library, like the polar opposite of sharing an apartment with someone he'd rather avoid at all costs.
And Sloane's reaction in that scene is so interesting, right? Because she's much more chill about the whole thing. She even suggests that maybe Nicholas is overreacting a little, which makes you as the reader wonder, okay, what exactly happened between these two? Is Nicholas's intense negativity really justified? Or is there something else going on that maybe he hasn't even fully processed yet?
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question, right? How much of his reaction is based on actual facts versus his own baggage from the past?
Yeah, exactly. And then there's that part where Nicholas describes Matias to Sloane. He straight up calls him horrible and then launches into this almost comical, stereotypical description. 6'1", athlete, big smile, treats the world like it's one big game that's already been rigged in his favor. And Sloane brings up a super important point. She reminds Nicholas that people can change, and that he himself might have changed since his undergrad days too. Which introduces this whole theme of personal growth and the potential for reconciliation, even when it seems impossible.
Right.
But Nicholas is unwilling to budge. He is so angry.
All right.
And he mentions something from the past that he's not ready to reveal yet.
Oh.
And you're like, what?
So there's a big secret.
Yes, huge secret.
Okay.
So clearly there's something that happened
that
he's holding on to, and it's fueling this hatred.
Yeah.
And then before we even see Matias again, you get this lovely little glimpse into Nicholas's friendship with Ajay. He's this super vibrant, outgoing PhD student who actually reached out to Nicholas before grad school. The complete opposite of Nicholas's usual solitary vibe.
Yeah. Their first meeting at that cafe is so sweet. Ajay is just this warm, inclusive person who makes an effort to connect with Nicholas despite his, introverted tendencies. It really shows the power of those friendships where someone sees something in you even when you're not really showing it to the world.
Absolutely. And you can feel how much Nicholas cherishes his friendships with both Ajay and Sloane. The book even mentions his protective feelings towards them, he's worried that the reappearance of Matias might somehow mess things up. It makes you think about those people in your own life who you're fiercely protective of. Who are those people for you? What is it about them that makes you want to, shield them from any potential harm?
It's a good question. And then, drumroll please, we finally get to the awkward reunion with Matias.
It's been building to this moment.
Right. When Nicholas first sees him in the apartment, the tension is so thick you could cut it with a knife. Nicholas is totally on edge, bracing himself for, like, World War III.
I mean, can you blame him? This is the guy he's been dreading seeing again for years.
Yeah, and then the curveball. Matthias's reaction is completely unexpected. It's actually genuine, even kind of amused, which throws Nicholas off even more. It's like he's prepared for the worst, but maybe, just maybe, starting to see a different side of Matthias.
It really challenges his preconceived notions, right? It makes him question if those old judgments are still valid.
So much internal conflict. On the one hand, he just wants Matthias gone. But then there's this realization like, okay, this is my reality now. I have to deal with it.
It's a tough spot to be in, for sure. And then the narrative shifts to another source of pressure in Nicholas's life, his academic responsibilities. That email from Professor Elizabeth R. Green about the PhD program's teaching requirements, it highlights the tug-of-war he feels between wanting to focus purely on research and the, real-world obligations of academia.
Yeah.
That balancing act between your own passions and the things you have to do.
It's so relatable. Grad school's no joke. And then Professor Green offers him an alternative. Instead of the traditional TA duties, she suggests a mentorship role with undergrads, focusing on a project-based approach that actually aligns with his research interests. But he's still hesitant.
Yeah, he's resistant to taking on that kind of nurturing role. It's almost like he's afraid of being vulnerable, of getting too close to people, which makes you wonder, what's at the root of that?
Right. Like, what's he so afraid of? And on top of all this, his social life starts intertwining with Matthias's presence in these weird, unexpected ways. Thursday nights become his again because Matthias joins a soccer league, of all things. And on one of those Thursdays, he ends up hanging out with Ajay and Sloane, talking about relationships and the possibility of, putting themselves out there.
And then comes the party where Nicholas meets Kieran. It's interesting because Nicholas is usually so reserved. But with Kieran, there's this spark, this thrill of excitement that you don't see very often with him. And they connect, they agree to grab another drink, and then, bam! The next morning, awkward encounter with Matthias. Like these two different parts of Nicholas's life are colliding.
Such a classic rom-com trope, right? Like the morning after awkwardness. But it's also this reminder that life doesn't fit neatly into separate boxes. Things get messy.
Totally. And that date with Kieran starts off promising, but you can sense Nicholas's underlying discomfort. Like he's not quite sure how to navigate this new territory. And it ends without a clear next step, leaving him in that state of uncertainty we've all been in when dating. Ajay's reaction, all excited and teasing, it's a nice touch of humor, but it's clear Nicholas is still processing everything.
Big time. And then, just as things seem to be settling down, the whole Matthias situation gets stirred up again. Nicholas and Ajay run into Matthias and his friends, including Layla, who becomes a pretty significant character on campus. And Ajay's, super friendly and relaxed interaction with Matthias just throws Nicholas completely off balance. It's like seeing someone you dislike being effortlessly likable to someone you care about. It messes with your head,
And Ajay, being the perceptive friend he is, picks up on Nicholas's tension and asks him point blank, "Why do you hate this guy so much?" It forces Nicholas to confront those deeply buried feelings. He gives a partial explanation, but it's clear he's holding back, which speaks to how much past hurts can shape our present interactions, even with our closest friends.
Totally. Sometimes it's hard to fully explain why we feel the way we do, especially when it comes to stuff from the past. And then we see Nicholas and Matthias interacting more, and you start to notice a shift. There's this phone call where Nicholas is surprised to find Matthias at home. Even something as mundane as grocery shopping becomes this awkward dance.
Yeah, and it's clear Nicholas is struggling to hold on to his negative view of Matthias. Despite his efforts to remain distant and critical, their constant proximity and the fact that Matthias isn't really doing anything overtly negative, it's starting to chip away at those old resentments.
It's like the ice is slowly starting to melt.
Exactly. But then there's that second encounter with Kieran, and it's a bit of a letdown. Nicholas reaches out, doesn't get a response, goes to Kieran's office. Awkward. And it ends with Kieran kind of politely blowing him off. It's that sting of rejection, and you really feel for Nicholas in that moment.
Rejection hurts. And then Will tries to comfort him, which is really sweet. It also comes out that Will knew about this bad experience Nicholas had in his freshman year, a revelation that clearly shakes Nicholas up. It makes you realize how often the people closest to us are aware of our struggles, even when we try to hide them.
Absolutely. Sometimes we think we're so good at masking our pain, but those who truly know us, they see right through it.
It's humbling. And around this time, we start to see a real shift in Nicholas's perspective. Professor Green is understanding about his teaching responsibilities, which takes some of the pressure off. Then there's this brief but almost friendly interaction with Matthias where they actually bond over Chekhov. It's a tiny moment, but it suggests a possible connection beyond their messy history. Matthias even invites him to play soccer, although Nicholas still declines.
Baby steps, right?
Baby steps. And then Sloane, being the amazing friend she is, voices her concerns about Kieran. She asks those super insightful questions like, does he make you laugh? Are you genuinely excited about him? You know, those things that make a relationship actually worthwhile. It's a reminder of how important it is to have those friends who can call you out and push you to consider what truly makes you happy. Sometimes we need that outside perspective to see things clearly. And sadly, Sloane's concerns turn out to be valid. Nicholas sees Kieran with someone else at a bar, and that's the end of that little romance. But Will's reaction in this moment, so angry at Kieran and supportive of Nicholas, it really shows the strength of their brotherly bond.
It's a nice reminder that even when romantic relationships falter, those familial bonds can be incredibly powerful. And amidst all this personal drama, Nicholas's mentorship of Brianna, one of the undergrads, starts to blossom. Her email expressing excitement about his research and asking for guidance shows that he's making a positive impact. It's a reminder that even when we're struggling, we can still be a source of support and inspiration for others.
It's a nice reminder that everyone has something to offer. And then the dynamic between Nicholas and Matthias continues to evolve. There's a game night at their apartment where Nicholas observes Matthias interacting with their friends, maybe seeing him in a new light. And then a huge moment. Nicholas actually joins Matthias for a soccer game. It's this shared activity, this moment of connection outside of the charged atmosphere of their apartment, like a breakthrough moment.
For sure. And Sloane doesn't let up. She keeps asking about Kieran, urging Nicholas to prioritize his own happiness. It's like she's his personal cheerleader, reminding him of his worth.
Everyone needs a Sloane in their life.
Yeah.
And then comes Thanksgiving, another turning point. Matthias moves out, and at first Nicholas is relieved, like, okay, space, peace and quiet. But then this feeling of something missing starts creeping in. And his conversation with Will suggests that Matthias is still welcome at the apartment. So even though they're not living together anymore, the boundaries are still blurry.
Yeah, it's like this weird in-between stage where things are undefined and a little messy.
Exactly. And then Matthias kind of forces Nicholas to go to one of his soccer games, and it's eye-opening for Nicholas. He sees Matthias interacting with his team, this whole other side of him that's positive and engaging, and then out of nowhere, in the rain after the game, they kiss. It's a completely unexpected moment that throws everything into question.
Yeah, talk about a plot twist. In the aftermath of that kiss, it sends Nicholas into a tailspin. He's confused, trying to rationalize it away, even joking about toxic rain. It's like he's not equipped to deal with these feelings. And then at lunch with Ajay and Sloane, he avoids talking about it completely, like full-on avoidance mode.
Classic avoidance. But sometimes we need a little push to confront things, right? And that push comes from an unexpected source. Will accidentally takes Matthias's wallet, and Nicholas has to return it. This leads to an awkward lunch with Matthias and his friends, where Layla, remember her from that campus run-in, starts dropping these, like, knowing hints about Nicholas and Matthias. Like, she's picking up on something they're not even acknowledging yet.
Layla becomes a real catalyst for change. She directly confronts Nicholas about his feelings for Matthias, and she drops a major bombshell. Matthias is bisexual, and his family, particularly his father, didn't approve. This sheds so much light on Matthias's past behavior, his guardedness, and maybe even some of Nicholas's own misinterpretations. Then, Layla hits him with the truth bomb. Matthias has been trying to get Nicholas to like him, like the whole time.
Mind blown. Talk about a game changer. And then comes Thanksgiving at the Fishers family home. Tense family dynamics, the unexpected arrival of Matthias, Lisa Fisher-Nicholas, and Will's mom asking these pointed questions about their relationship statuses. It's all very uncomfortable. The car ride back to Chicago is this, like, pressure cooker of unsaid things. But there is this conversation between Nicholas and his dad that hints at their shared grief and struggles, suggesting maybe some hope for healing within the family.
Yeah. It's a small moment of connection amidst a lot of tension. And back in Chicago, there's a noticeable change in the atmosphere. The car ride back is more relaxed. Nicholas and Will agree to go home again. So even on the family front, there's progress. Back at school, Nicholas reconnects with his friends, and then he has this big conversation with Matthias. And Matthias is very direct. He wants a real relationship, not just something casual. He even gives Nicholas an ultimatum, forcing Nicholas to face his fears and desires head on.
No more beating around the bush.
Right. It's time for a decision. And amidst all this personal turmoil, Nicholas gets an email from Jasmine Miller-Reed offering him a TA position. It's this professional validation that comes at a time when he's really questioning himself. It's a reminder that even when life feels chaotic, good things can still happen.
For sure. And then Nicholas has this really profound moment of reflection. He visits the site of the accident where Emma, someone close to him, died. It's a quiet moment of reckoning with his past grief, his behavior, and his tendency to isolate himself. And then he has another conversation with his dad, a small step towards reconciliation.
And then finally, the moment we've all been waiting for. Nicholas and Matthias have this heart-to-heart, and Nicholas admits his feelings, that he wants a real relationship too. They decide to have dinner and tell Will, marking a new beginning for them.
It's the culmination of so much emotional growth and self-discovery. So we've taken this deep dive into the end of the line, and it's been a journey. We've seen resentment, self-doubt, the power of friendship, and ultimately the potential for love and personal transformation. What do you think?
What a ride. It really makes you think about those complicated relationships in our own lives and the courage it takes to be vulnerable.
For sure. What a great debut novel.
It really was.
Have you ever had to navigate a relationship with a tangled past? What are your thoughts on those moments when dynamics shift unexpectedly? And what does it mean to truly give someone or accept from someone a second chance? We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments.
Keep the conversation going. And if you enjoyed this deep dive, hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss out on future episodes.
We have so many more books to explore together.
Join us next week for episode 14, where we'll be diving into Terminal Lucidity by another first-time author, Jo Loveday. Can't wait to see you then.
Happy reading, everyone!